This unfolded over the Black Sea, one of the most contested regions on the planet right now. It's where Russian and American forces are locked in a silent, high-stakes battle for control. And in August 2020, that battle got dangerously real. Oh my God! A US B-52 bomber, cruising at 750 feet per second, suddenly found itself at the mercy of a Russian Su-27 fighter. But this wasn't a standard intercept. The Russian pilot pulled something reckless, something meant to send a clear message. You can see it racing ahead, turning toward the bomber's nose, getting within 100 feet of the American aircraft at the same altitude, then pulling up. It's a move called thumping or headbutting, and the B-52 got caught in the turbulence, which might explain the shaky camera inside the American plane. The crew was shaken up too, one of them even lost control of the camera. That close distance made the maneuver even riskier than usual. You're watching a B-52 cruising at 750 feet per second, and with the Russian fighter that close, there's less than a second to avoid a collision. Right here. No wonder the US Air Force slammed the Russian pilots for acting so unprofessionally in this incident. That Su-27 you're seeing likely launched from Belbek Air Base in occupied Crimea, where Russian fighters are on standby to intercept NATO aircraft over the Black Sea. That's exactly why the B-52 is patrolling here. Its mission is part of a series of recent operations, including drills practicing cruise missile launches, which didn't exactly thrill Moscow. Another incident happened the very same day. Check this out, it's another Su-27, but this time it's not over the Black Sea. You're looking at the skies above the Baltic, through the window of another B-52 bomber flying near the Danish island of Bornholm. The move wasn't as dangerous as the one you saw earlier, but it violated Danish airspace. Russia has a track record of intercepting American aircraft in international airspace, from the Bering Strait to here, but it's been especially aggressive in the Black Sea. Fast forward 3 years, and these interceptions escalated to physical contact. Meet the MQ-9 Reaper drone. It may be unmanned, but it's highly capable, flying up to 50,000 feet and staying airborne for 27 hours if needed. It's been part of high-profile missions, like the strike on Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad in January 2020. Russian pilots know the MQ-9 is unmanned, so they took it as an invitation to get bold. On March 14, 2023, 2 Su-27s harassed a Reaper. Here's one caught on camera, coming dangerously close at least once, then again. Then the camera cuts out. Why? Because the Russian jet dumped fuel on the drone in a deliberate attempt to blind it. Mission accomplished. Then, at 7:03 a.m. local time, a collision. A Russian fighter clips the Reaper's propeller, sending it crashing, a total loss. The US Air Force again called out Russia for flying in an unsafe and unprofessional manner. Moscow, of course, denied any contact happened, but later gave medals to the pilots for preventing the Reaper from violating Russia's temporary airspace. No human injuries, thankfully, but it was a costly hit. Each Reaper runs about $30 million. This was the first US-Russian aircraft collision since the Cold War, forcing the US to tweak its drone operations in the region. Fortunately, American operators wiped the Reaper's software to keep its data out of Russian hands. So why is Russia pushing these provocative stunts against a powerhouse like the US military? It's all about the Black Sea, a critical geostrategic zone for both Russia and the West for centuries. The Soviet Union's collapse and the fall of the Eastern Bloc hit Russia hard here. During the Cold War, the Black Sea was practically a Soviet lake. Afterward, it tilted more toward the West, and Moscow sees that as bad news for its military and economic security. Russia's geography limits its year-round access to global oceans. Its illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014 was partly to secure access to the Mediterranean. Sevastopol in Crimea and Novorossiysk to the west on the Russian mainland are Russia's only warm-water ports, ones that don't freeze in winter. Russia desperately needs the Black Sea open for its ships, especially for oil and gas exports from Novorossiysk, vital to its economy. That port can handle 40 million tons of oil annually, with 5.2 million tons on 40 tankers in September 2024 alone. If the Black Sea gets cut off, so does this trade, and so does Russia's Navy's ability to project power into the Mediterranean. Russia's intercepts of American aircraft are part of its push to dominate what it calls its near abroad. Since annexing Crimea, it's deployed S-400 air defense systems to fortify the region, along with electronic warfare systems and drones for added defense layers. Here's some perspective. Russia's post-2014 control of Crimea lets it cover nearly the entire Black Sea with anti-ship and anti-air missiles. Crimea is the linchpin of Russia's strategy to dominate the Black Sea. But Russia doesn't stop there, it also plays international law to its advantage when it suits them. As a party to the 1936 Montreux Convention, Russia benefits from rules limiting warships passing through Turkey's Dardanelles and Bosporus Straits. This keeps NATO's naval presence in check, but it cuts both ways. Since Turkey declared Russia's invasion of Ukraine a war, only Russian naval ships returning to base can pass through. The Black Sea is just as vital for the US and its NATO allies. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it's repeatedly threatened the global grain supply, much of which flows through these waters. Keeping commercial shipping open is critical for the global economy and the security of NATO nations like Romania and Georgia. Even Turkey, a regional heavyweight, relies heavily on Russian energy imports. Just look at the shipping routes to see how Russia's grip on internationally recognized Ukrainian territory has strengthened its Black Sea position. Russia wants to turn the Black Sea into its sphere of influence, a place where it sets the international rules. To counter this, the US and its allies need to challenge Russia's anti-access/area denial, A2/AD, strategy with their own, including a drone wall to monitor and, if needed, strike Russian assets to protect NATO borders and shipping. But if incidents like the 2023 Reaper collision become common, building that drone wall will be tougher than building Trump's border wall. That's why Russia went so hard against the Reaper, to raise the costs and uncertainty for NATO's containment plans. It makes leaders wonder just how far a nuclear-armed Russia will go to defend its Black Sea interests. It's a small step toward a potential major shift in global relations. Many hoped the end of the Cold War in 1991, when the Soviet Union fell, marked the end of history. President George H.W. Bush called it the peace dividend. But that post-Cold War era is looking more like a historical blip. These incidents feel like a throwback to when great powers vied for control of key regions. As U.S. Air Force General James Hecker said after the Reaper crash, this push by authoritarian powers to disrupt the status quo risks global stability. The Black Sea is one of those critical regions, and Russia's drive to reclaim lost Cold War power means American pilots will need to stay sharp for more aggressive Russian moves. If we've learned anything about Vladimir Putin, he'll push as far as he thinks he can get away with. Bye for now.